So we begin this message with a gospel song. Okay, so I used that song in a service one time, and at the very end I got rather free in the spirit and I said, now we can substitute something there on our own, such as no more lying there, we are going to see the King. There was a little bit of friction in the church because some younger people were establishing some new things, and some of the older folks weren't real happy with the newer folks and some of their ways. And so one of the younger individuals yelled out, "No more grumbling there." And so we sang, "No more grumbling there, we are going to see the King. No more grumbling there." Well, anyhow, let's get to my message, which is entitled No More. No more. No more. So there's a host of passages that you can look up, but the most important ones are Revelation chapter 21 and Revelation chapter 22. So most people, when they talk about heaven, they talk sort of in the positive as to what it will be like. But mostly we understand heaven in what it is not like. In other words, heaven is defined through negation, the way of negation, whereby we are told what is not there. So I'm going to give you 9 things that are not in heaven. First, there is no sea. Now the Greeks were very familiar with the sea, and they were known as seafaring people. But the Hebrews were always troubled and disturbed by the sea. So the sea represents restlessness, turmoil, strife, anxiety, stress. That will be gone. No stress, no anxiety, no restlessness. Second, no tears. The absence of tears. All the hurts of life are gone. The sadness and the disappointments that you've experienced are gone. We're told in the prophet Isaiah 51:11, sorrow and sighing will flee away. No more tears. Third, no more death. Now we are told because of the resurrection of Jesus Christ in 1 Corinthians 15:54 that death has been swallowed up in victory. So death does not exist in heaven. And you have gone through the pain of losing someone. This statement, there is no more death, is very, very significant. Now when I talked about the fourth one, no pain, I included a little joke whereby the regular preacher was absent on Sunday morning and a substitute came to preach. And the substitute began to explain what a substitute was like and saying, you know, whenever you have a window and if the glass breaks, you come in and fill that with some more glass, and that's what a substitute is. So at the end of the service, the woman said, yeah, you were right about that with the window. You were a real pain. P-A-N-E. Now pain comes in all kinds of forms, physical, emotional, spiritual. But heaven is pain-free. Fifth, the temple will not exist in heaven. Why? Because heaven is God's true dwelling place. So the tabernacle in the Old Testament and then later the temple were to be like miniature model sets of the dwelling place of God. Jesus refers to heaven as the Father's house in John 14:33. But it's Revelation 21:22, no temple. Sixth, no sun, no moon. Now the sun provides light for us through the day, the moon at night. And without these heavenly bodies, we would be in darkness. But there's no need of them in heaven. Why? Because the Lord God is the light. So if you go to heaven, you don't need suntan lotion. Seventh, there's no night. Now, a book that I had in my library was called The Great Nights of the Bible by Dr. Clarence McCartney of First Presbyterian of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And in that book he highlights some very significant events in the life of people of faith by using the theme of the great nights of the Bible. But night has been symbolic of a lot of things such as lostness, evil, ignorance. It's a time and a period when sin can be rampant. And I remember once I had to go to the emergency room at a hospital, and it was late at night. And it was maybe about 1 a.m., and it was fairly busy. And I talked to the attendant, and I said, well, I never thought this could be so busy at this late at night. And she said, well, you should see it here after 2 a.m. I said, well, what difference does that make? And the clerk said, well, that's when all the local bars have to close. So things happen at night, and night has always been kind of a cover for doing things that are either illegal or sinful or immoral. Darkness always represents sin, by the way. Eighth, no abominations or practitioners of abominations. Now, the word abomination literally means something that would make God sick to the stomach. And these sins are so disgusting that the very thought of them makes God sick to his stomach. Now, we are witnessing in our world right now abominations being normalized. And my phrase that I developed for this, I call it the normalization of abomination. So things that at one time people considered absolutely horrendous are now being accepted as normal. Sometimes they're even actually being praised. And what is the ninth, the last thing? There are no curses in heaven. Now, a curse is something that follows an act of disobedience. It is something that is tagged to the sin. That if you want to sin, then this is the curse or the consequence that follows the sin. So there's no need for a curse in heaven because there's no sin in heaven. Everybody's been sanctified and glorified once they come in through the gate. So what are the 9 things not in heaven? No sea in heaven, no tears, no death, no pain, no temple, no sun or moon, no night, no abominations or practitioners of abominations, and no curse. Now, I concluded this message with an illustration that I acquired from a student in a class that I was teaching public speaking. And I did that for 4 years while I was pastoring, by the way. I had one period of my life where I was working at colleges and universities. But I was also still pastoring. I was doing half and half. And this young lady gave a magnificent speech about heaven. And she illustrated it this way from her own life. This illustration arose that her children were young, and she would take them to the playground at McDonald's. And her children loved the playground at McDonald's. And they didn't want to leave. But they were on their way to another destination. And just in a few more miles, they would arrive at their destination, which was an amusement park. And so she'd have to pry the children off of the play toy items at McDonald's and say, I'm taking you to a better place. I'm taking you to somewhere that is much better than this little playground here at the McDonald's. Well, of course, the point is, an individual can live a good life here and now in this life, such as the children playing in the McDonald's playground. But something far better awaits them, the believer. Something far better. The wonderful amusement park awaited the children. And so heaven is like that. It's a place where those 9 things are not present at all. And that's why it makes it such a glorious place. Because it's missing those 9 things. I might add a 10th in that the devil is not there, and his army and his forces. Thank you for watching this. This concludes the video.